just come in there and look for knockouts, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wants to fight with me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles. Body work,
Welcome to Body Work. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Body Work Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Soon as the news hit the scene, we might get a good Xmas. The Grinches came out. Oh my goodness. And the crazy thing is, man, if I was really like, man, trying to aim for a spot, man, even though I think it's okay to go for the number one spot, man. That's how it happened in the sport. If you aiming for the number one spot, you wide open. You know what I'm saying? If you aiming for the number one spot, if you putting in work, you know what I'm saying? You just got to recognize where you at. If you're only like 3 years in, you can't expect to do stuff that people with double-digit years in and is doing. It's like that in boxing. I mean, you can. It happens. But today's day and time, it's a lot of hard work. But recently, we came across some information, and I was like, I had already seen the article, read the article. I was like, Eureka. Them neurons was firing, man. I was like, yes, this is what boxing needs, man. This is boxing fixing itself. It's like, you know, you got to look at everything like the ebbs and the flows, the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. And I realized what the game plan is, man. I hate to do this, man, but it's still in this present day and time as a fan, because I'll take off from doing content and remind myself that, hey, you are a fan first. The minute you forget that you're a fan first, then you're doing this thing of boxing that we love, then you have an agenda, man. And you're going to play to your agenda. Now, whether you winning it or not, that's good. Like, I mean, it just is what it is. It really is. But we got to understand that when certain people announce fights, there are people that's going to come out and hamstring it right away. They come out and set the tone right away. They start shaping and molding, and they start winding up their minions. They start giving them Kool-Aid and sugar, and then they start revving them up. They might have them biting on towels and doing all kind of crazy stuff, but they come out and they hamstring the fights. And they come out and they poke holes in every single solitary thing. They create narratives. And in these narratives, what they do is they spoon feed you all these gaslighting tactics, and it's like, man, when is enough, man? We can see value in what everybody brings to the table. I see value what everybody brings to the table, in boxing and online. I swear I do. But I'm like, when is enough, man? When do you realize that people who fail to remind themselves that they are fans first are always going to get in the way of a fight? I've been trying to sharpen up everything and trying to see, okay, what more can I do? You know what I'm saying? I know I'm not trying to be the Drake of this, maybe more like the Lloyd Banks of this. And I be going back over some things, saying, okay, well, how can you get better than that? Reviewing my stuff, seeing if I was too critical there. Like, just taking self-inventory. Saying, okay, can I sharpen up this? You know what I'm saying? You know, the attention span of everybody is so short. You got to have gadgets and gadgets and wizards and all that. But at the end of the day, man, the concept of what I do here on Bodywork is I speak the truth, my truth. It's not about being right, and it's definitely, for me, it's not about being first. Why? Because just like this other thing in life, the first person who talk about it loses, if you know what I mean. That's how I used to handle it. You know what I'm saying? First person to talk about it loses. But it's kind of crazy that big fights get announced and things, what's right in boxing should happen. Things align to where people start, they stop, they make a honest assessment of where they at and where they're trying to go. They reshoot an azimuth. They analyze where they at right now, what they're trying to accomplish. Well, if that's not achievable, like let's be honest, fighting Canelo Alvarez, unless he picks and chooses you, that's not something that you can decide. It's certain fighters where it's like that. It's almost like what Tank is going on. It's like, you know, it's some things that there just are. It just is what it is. Like outside of certain fights, like let's just say Canelo and Tank right now. Canelo and Tank, in this one way, because I don't like comparing them in many different ways, but in this one way, it's almost like you can't say, hey, I'm about to go fight this guy. It's almost like they gotta choose you. We know that. So when Benavidez say, hey, you know what I'm saying, I gotta reshoot my azimuth, man. I've been waiting around. We seen the move, we peeped the moves. You know, people are even tired of even getting on Canelo for how that whole thing happened and not revisiting all this, and he's done enough, and you know, he's walking Hall of Famer, and you can just ride over to the sunset. I think the man is thinking about golf. We know that. So David made a conscious decision to say, you know what? I'm going up to 175. Yeah, I'm gonna go make my own bones at 175. And I was like, dang it. My first reaction was, well, hold on, man. The talented Mr. David Morrell, well, he's been fighting Canelo Alvarez as mandatories for the WBA since 2021. It's 2024. We almost down to the last quarter, which is really the first quarter. But you know what I mean. And I was like, hold on, man. He could make some names down there. So other names that's coming up. You got him, Billy. That's down there. You know, you had Berlanga, Munguia, Plant. You know, you had, usual suspects right now in boxing talk. You had all of those things. But then guess what? Dave Morrell said, oh, you going to 175? I'm going to 175 too. And I was waiting to see all the videos. I said, man, look, this is what the young guys are supposed to do. You say they don't got enough of this. You say they don't got enough of that. They say this is what they want. Because they were saying that Benavidez should have stayed where he was at, shouldn't have moved and did this. I'm like, man, that's going to be one of them things with hindsight, they was going to roast you either way. If he stayed there, they'd say, listen, man, move on. Go forward your own path. Try to go get in this line. Well, he go get in the Benavidez and Bivol line, and they say, oh, man, look, you got out the way. Why you ain't do what Edgar Berlanga did? Well, news flash to anybody out here. This is a form of gaslighting. Why? Because David Morrell held the same spot as Edgar Berlanga before he moved up. He was fighting his mandatories for the WBA all that time. He waited till David Morrell moved up and went to 175. Edgar Berlanga got that spot, and then Canelo chose him. At least you could say Morrell, Benavidez, they both had one belts. You could play belt silent. Oh, this wasn't the world, and this was a secondary, and this was a silver, and this was a light, and then you can play the games when it comes down to the amateur experience and all that. All of this shit is a form of gaslighting. That's what we got to realize, man. All of this stuff is a form of gaslighting. So I'm going to do this, and then we're going to go into the information, and then I'm going to walk you through to see if I'm tripping or I'm crazy. But this is where I'm like, man, we're in a dangerous time right now with the loudest, let's say, speaker boxes. Let's say the loudest speaker boxes and therapists / pastors, the loudest ones, right? With the most impact are just putting batteries in fans' backs and just spinning them around and having them getting up all dizzy and shook up, man, with the stuff that they do. And I want you to evaluate me in this whole thing as I roll it out. I'm gonna take some time with this because this is like, man, this thing, when you're looking at it in real time and you're saying something on it, people are, oh man, who is he here? But let some time go by. Then the pastor get up in the congregation and he said, and all of a sudden he right. It was like, well, what about the man at the grocery store who told you it was a nail in his tire? The pastor ain't got to tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Some of it's just common sense, man. And right now we all know that a lot of people are vying for checks. They vying for this, they vying for that. But I got to go into this first part of the curriculum with gaslight, and I'm going to get right into it. And we're going to break down this whole Benavidez and Morrell potential for December. And then you can evaluate me. If I'm wrong, you can stab me in the heart with a fork. I don't give a fork. You know what I'm saying? Gaslighting tactics that involve memory include countering, question someone's memory, such as by saying you have a bad memory or you're forgetting what really happened. Denial or forgetting, intentionally forgetting something they told you or promised, or denying that it ever happened. Twisting facts. This is an all-time great right now. Like, people are putting up Jordan numbers in this category. Changing key details in events or stories, making you question your memory. Withholding information. Refusing to listen or pretending not to understand what you're saying, leaving out key details. Gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse that can involve manipulating emotions, memories, and perceptions to maintain power and control. It can create a sense of confusion, self-doubt, and loss of identity. And a lot of us have found ourselves there as fans, man. But like a lot of the times, man, when you go into like, let's just say like around your way, most people only go to about 3 or 4 different grocery stores when they want something real special, but in some kind of shape or form. They might not go to the same one every time, but it's a mixture of 3 or 4 different grocery stores. And outside of that, you can go to these little mini marts and these little places, these little cuts, these little delis where you can get what you need in the meantime, in between time. So that's what we all are doing online. We all know where all of this stuff is coming from in a lot of cases. We all going to the giant. We recognize that that's the giant. That's the food lion. Okay, cool. We recognize it as such. That's the biggest. That's the baddest. Okay, cool. But if you looked at the produce in them stores here lately, you went in there and started looking at the prices. So when you really start looking at it and you start breaking everything down, you're like, hold on, man. You start not going to the major ones, because the major ones, you starting to figure out that, hold on, man. The major ones, they kind of like, let's just say that big place that everybody came in and put a lot of mom and pop shops out. Where mom and pops had gourmet, specialty, custom. And this one big entity came in, and because you don't have to go anywhere else, you can get your produce, you can get a pair of flip-flops. Those are real popular these days in boxing talk. You can get whatever you need. You can get your lubricants, your baby oils. You can grab something to eat, and you can leave. Why? Because it's big. It's you know, it has everything. But you ever realize that the lines be real long, that all the cash registers ain't open? When you really start looking down at the produce, which is the fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. When you start getting outside of opinion, you start analyzing everything down to facts, like the way when you look at them cucumbers, when you look at that lettuce, that cabbage, and it ain't looking right, and you're like, hold on, man, I ain't never seen no tomato like this. Where the watermelon with the seeds in? So when you really start deep diving and searching and looking inside, and you really start saying that, hold on, man, like, dang, yeah, it is convenient to get all of this in one spot. Yeah, it's convenient. I might be able to get an interview or two. Might get a little sermon here. Might get a little power speech. Might be able to dibble dab in a little bit of politics. But you always know that this is a mom and pop store, that whatever you can go to this mom and pop store and get exactly what you need. Like them old bookstores that went out. That's a rare breed. We can go in there and get them books where you can't get them online no more, but you can go in there and get them books and you can sit down and read and get something. That's what this channel try to be, man. One of them places where, man, look, man, we ain't trying to compete with the big broad highway. We back streets in the valleys, in the alleys. But we gonna get you to that good bookstore where we just sit down and we just really analyze and think about everything. We sit down and we analyze and we put everything up to the light, up to the mirror, put it on the scale. This is what I'm asking. This is what I'm asking. Let's look at this real quick. So it was rumored that this is up next. And I'm like, wow, like that's like everybody will be like, yes, okay, cool. Do you know the biggest narrative that was pushed? The fight's not ready. I said, man, I be trying to tell y'all, man, that people are not real boxing fans. Like the people with the loudest speaker boxes and the biggest couches are not always coercing the fans to do what we need to have all the energy in the world for this. This is them two young brothers making their own path. I literally heard somebody say, oh man, they putting on their business hat for this one. So on my business hat, I'm like, what are you talking about? Are you a fan or not? And then you know by the sources. So remember, when the fights are being announced, just like the free one that was just announced, then somebody can stop me when I'm lying. But when the free ones was announced, the first thing they did was they hamstringed that. They went out and fed a whole lot of people. Oh man, look at this, man. What is that? But they were just clamoring to have Tim Tszyu fight Bud. Well, Tim Tszyu is fighting somebody else. And it's all in the vein of a strap. But we're gonna get down to what they're doing. I just want to read the source because you know me, I gotta qualify my sources now. Literally, I was literally just done with the thumbnail. I had already read the article, already emailed it to myself, had read the article, and I was like, dang, I ain't gonna be able to speak about this till the night time because that's when I've been trying to cater, you know what I'm saying, figuring out my lane and my time and when I can do it and random because I don't want to be too predictable. I don't want to be able to be timed like that. But I was on fire. I said, man, yes, boxing, like, okay, cool, okay, now, because people was putting out a lot of things, and there was a lot of speculation. I'm like, man, you got to think that label over there, man, they got the stars. The minute they come back, everybody going to be talking about them again, but I'm trying to tell you that when certain fights are announced from this particular place, there is a concerted effort for everybody, a lot of people, some big speaker boxes, some major couches, to hamstring these fights. That's the first thing. They poke holes in it. They have a bunch of minions running around saying stuff, making up stuff, rebuilding and doing this and remixing all this, and it all equates to us not getting the fight. When this thing was first announced, I was like, yes, the two Davids, yes, like Canelo and them, they can't take no credit. Yes, this is not something about a label or being in-house and all this. I heard everything under the sun as to why this fight shouldn't happen. Straw men were being pulled up and brought up. People, banana pills was thrown out. Since it's okay to talk about banana pills, let's talk about it. Out in the road. A bunch of crazy things, man. I'm like, man, like we don't, as fans, man, if somebody don't keep putting these stakes in the ground, you'll have people up here telling you every reason in the world. All the reasons, just like why they were trying to say we shouldn't get Shakur and Tank right now. They'll give you all the, oh man, it's all, I mean, you know, because the business, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm like, are you a fan or not? But then when somebody that's actually in the business, who got their son to a certain level, you sit up there and argue with them face to face and tell them up and down from a position where you've never been. Oh man, you ain't standing on business. It's like, hold on, I'm in the business. There's others where we don't really agree with, you know what I'm saying, a lot of things, but we can't knock where you were able to achieve once we see the results. Like, it is what it is. That's where the age-old, the proof is in the pudding is at. But we don't want these fights. Let me go from the source where I was at with it. The thing that has sparked my attention, and then we'll go over some things, and I'll tell you what I mean. You know, it's always protect yourself at all times. This is fair use. This is not mine. Let's see what you take from this. Boxing News 24. Salute to Boxing News 24. David Benavidez versus David Morrell. Possible for December. Now that's optimism. Possible. They don't give you a guarantee. They don't say get your tickets now. They saying, listen, man, it's very much possible. Got a picture of Osvari right there in the ring. This is by Dan Ambrose. We've been coming to buy a lot of his pieces lately. I'm like, just be consistent, man. It don't matter. People going to pick and choose when they want to give you credit for what they got, where you've seen, whatever source you're crediting. This is the source that I'm choosing to accredit for this. David Benavidez revealed today on social media that he could face WBC regular lightweight heavyweight champion David Morrell next. Benavidez, 29-0, 24 knockouts, initially said that he was cooking up something big. And when pressed, he said it was the fight against Morrell, 11-0 with 9 KOs. And people say, oh man, they look at the record. He only got this many fights. Well, the guy Madrimov, he only had that many fights. We talking about decorated amateur, he checks off that block too. This guy actually came in and actually moved up a division and tested the water. But it's a different standard though, I get it. Let me carry on, let me digress. Capturing the WBA secondary belt from Morrell, and I don't know why they always do that secondary belt stuff, but let's just go with what they say. Secondary belt from Morrell will give Benavidez more credibility as a challenger for the Artur Beterbiev versus Dimitri Bivol winner. If Morrell is victorious, Benavidez will have lifelong regrets about taking this risky matchup. All the money he thought he was going to get as a WBC mandatory to Beterbiev will be up in smoke. I can see Benavidez as an old man someday saying to himself, why did I do it? Why did I fight Morrell? It would be torture for Benavidez to second guess himself for the rest of his life if the talented Cuban Morrell destroys him. Now that's the author's perspective. That's one way of looking at it. It's a very winnable fight for Morrell, who is stronger and more suited to the 175-pound division than Benavidez. Benavidez is finally showing interest in facing the talented Cuban Morrell, and his recent lackluster performance against, let's say, Hot Rod on August 3rd could be the reason. Benavidez Morrell would be an excellent fight if it can get made. It would be a great addition to Gervonta Davis' next undercard in December. So this article will lead you to believe that when Tank announced this thing, it'll be kind of like in line with what happened last time when Benavidez was on there. This was my first impression. I said, okay, how are they going to do this? Because I had been said that PBC was going to ultimately have to stack the cards. When they said they were going to give us X amount of cards, they did the initial couple fights, and I said, well, they're going to have to put the who's who of it. And you seen, I guess some people, they gave people opportunities to go get in where they could fit in. And they was going to have to kind of stack the cards where it was going to be more nutritional value put into the cards. That was just my line of thinking. So I was thinking, okay, cool. So this is one of the answers I thought. And I said, okay, cool. We're going to let this ride because he did use possible. And now he's saying on Tank Davis' next undercard in December, which is great. Birthday month. Legends are born in December. Everybody. I didn't know if you knew that. So I was thinking, cool. I was motivated. Despite hurting Hot Rod several times and winning a wide 12-round decision, Morrell looked tentative in the light. Morrell could have knocked him out if he'd been throwing sustained combinations. After that performance, it's not surprising that Benavidez has come out of the woodwork, eager to fight Morrell. If Morrell fixes that problem by throwing combinations, Benavidez will be in trouble. Now, right after the assessment, when I first watched the fight, that was one of the things I said. I said everybody be saying this and this and that. Now we're gonna look at the scorecards. So they play this game too. We're gonna look at the scorecards and we're gonna see how everybody position this with the verbiage and how they gaslight you. They slip this into your mac and cheese. Like when this is what's gonna be in your mac and cheese. Everybody love it. But we're gonna go over that as well. Cooking up something big for y'all for my next fight. Stay tuned. If everything goes right and he accepts, David Morrell said David Benavidez on social media for his next fight in December. Benavidez floated a vision he'd cook up, saying that if he defeats the Beterbiev Bivol winner to capture the 4 belts, he could defend them against Canelo Alvarez at a catchweight. It was a wacky pipe dream because Benavidez's chance of beating Beterbiev or Bivol would be virtually zero. Another very strong opinion. This is the author's opinion. I'm just reading right now, citing this source. Benavidez's power at 168 was absent at 175, and it was clear that he was not the same fighter in the division. In other words, Benavidez can't dominate against fighters his size and will need to figure out a different way of winning. If Benavidez keeps fighting the way he did at super middleweight, it's only a matter of time before he's knocked out. Another very strong opinion from the author. If the fight with Morrell 26 gets made, it's unclear if Benavidez's WBC mandatory spot will be up for grabs. If Benavidez loses that, he could forget about getting the winner of the October 12th undisputed championship fight between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. If Morrell can get his hands on a WBC mandatory spot, it would be him who would take on the winner of that fight if he could defeat Benavidez. That would mess up Benavidez's plans for the mega payday that he's counting on by fighting the winner of Beterbiev Bivol fight. Right? Let me just go back and look. Because normally they'll tell you. See, sometimes they tell you the time. This won't tell you the time. This was very, very early. This was very, very early. I almost started making up the thumbnail while I was actually reading this. And then I wanted to listen. I wanted to watch. I wanted to wait. I wanted to hear. I wanted to get a pulse of everything that was going on and figure out what was going on. Now I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. And then I'll come out. I'm going to tell you. One of the things that goes on, people are already getting in the way of the fight. They're already getting in the way of the fight. Like, if you have any kind of impact and they announce this, while people putting on business hats and getting in the way of the fight. Like, for what? I mean, unless you have a vested interest in the team and you got this going on and you getting a part of the check, you part of the team. So, okay, cool. You riding and you doing, you know what I'm saying? You company man, you riding along. But if you don't have no vested interest or whatever, why would the first thing you do would be to get in the way of this fight? That's what first, I'm like, okay, cool. So that's when you call checking somebody's temperature. So a lot of people's first, and then they started the actual sellout. They started tearing down David Morrell and the fan base and the thing that he had going on in Minneapolis. And this is what they did. They used the age-old, the actual sellout of the tickets. So then it started becoming, oh, where the tickets, and he's not going to be. I'm like, well, do you want to see the fight or not? If you're not getting a check for it, why do you care? Like, it baffles me. But this is what I said. I remember when the whole Devin Haney thing, because I was trying to talk to my lady earlier, and I was telling her, I was like, I told her about it. She was like, And I was like, yeah. I said, but what happens is you can have a venue that seat like 18,000. If they only put out like 10,000 seats there, and you know, you do your 8, your 9, like minus the 10%, sometimes around about 10% fluctuation or variance that they give you for it, you know, minus the comps. If it's an 18, let's just say it hold 18, they got it slotted for 10, and you put 9.5 in there, or you put 9.7 in there, or something like that. They're gonna say you sold it out, which is cool. Which is like people when you bring this up and you clarify this, that's cool. But when you clarify that, hold on, this venue really hold 18, and you could have sold 18. Man, you hating. But it's like, okay, cool. Well, why when we talk about these other fighters, we talk about everything is max to capacity with that same 10% variance in comps involved? But it's like with damn near, it ain't not what they sectioned off. Not that you clear whatever they had sectioned off. They started using that with David Morrell. I'm like, but you don't use that argument when it came down to Devin Haney and him selling over there. But you got the biggest speaker box or the biggest couch. Pick a side. But that's what they do. They use that. Then they was people already insinuating that Turkey was going to make this. I was like, see, I said we are in a day and time where people get the benefit of the doubt of actually doing something way before they've actually done it. I'm like, why would you even label it? Why would you even be insinuating? Oh yeah, hopefully Big Turkey could make it. I'm like, historically, where have them fighters fought before? Where did they fight? And yeah, they letting people go across the street and all that, but why would you just automatically assume that Turkey, and that's a whole divert, that Turkey has something to do with it? Why do they get the benefit of the doubt? But, and you know, it's just as clear as the air we breathe, the oxygen that we need, that we know we need, but we all can't see. We know it's clear. I'm not going to go there today, but we know it's clear of what it really is, man, and why these things pop up and why people have the propensity to jump out here in hamstring fights and create these BS things. Like, why would you even reason? Now, if it came across and you had some kind of source or something insinuate or some kind of material to go by coming from Turkey and wherever he put out, then okay, cool. That wasn't even there. He's already getting the benefit of the doubt of putting this on. This is why I say people be looking at stuff through rose-colored glasses. It's cool when you hunting and you get some mud on your windshield and you ride and you used to it, but like every now and again you gotta stop and get some Windex and clean it all the way off, because you just used to looking at it through that way, but you're not looking at it purely for what it really is. Why are you insinuating that the man over there got something to do with it? Why? Because you want to hamstring and underestimate the value of the fight. Why? What's the agenda? And then the last thing was, like, you see there where Benavidez, you see where we quoted Benavidez. I read what it said for Benavidez, and they was in the article was actually saying December, and they gave the reasoning because of Tank's potential fight date in December. Let's just say nobody knows right now. I know I'm not an insider. I'm not linked in. I'm not tied in. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any affiliation. I'm waiting on the outside looking in just like everybody else, using the same sources as everybody else. We don't know. But this article, this was the first one I seen. I didn't even read no other ones after that because I started seeing and hearing where everybody was getting their stuff from and what was going on. I said, nope, I'm not even going to look at it. I'm going to stick to what this said, because this was the one that I actually went to. And I've been reading these articles. I'm going to show y'all. I've been doing this. Well, I've been doing this for about, 3 years? I've been doing this for over a year and a half. It's been a minute since I've been doing this pretty much the whole time, citing my sources, putting stakes in the ground so that if you go back and you hear a segment, you'll be like, okay, cool, this is what I got in this. I was even dating the thumbnail so that if people really want to know or just hear something different, hear what was really going on during that time, you would have something. That's what this is. Why? Because the channel never changed. Fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. Fact-based content. They were trying to make it seem like since now that Benavidez called out David Morrell, Now Morrell's acting all snobby and hostility by saying, "Oh, it's December or else later." Like, oh, how you gonna shoot? How you gonna snob your nose up? Why you not gonna take advantage? I'm like, what are y'all talking like? So now you got a bunch of people believing that that's true. Now you realize, you got a whole bunch of people running around believing that that's true. Wholeheartedly, like that's the gospel right now. They're running around like that was a fact when that was never said. I didn't see a source, but they kept trying to drive this wedge and try to, oh man, well, no, man. Then people start chiming in saying that, like, hold on, man, like, listen, man, Morrell can't do this. I'm like, man, listen, he didn't even. That's not even a fact. That's why I say they say, look, we just gonna run with. This was literally what it was. We're just gonna run with, blah 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 blah. I was like, yeah, that's what happened, man. When you just run with stuff. When you get run with stuff, you tend to get ran over. That's where I stand. That's really where I stand at it. Hey, body work. Salute, Cookie Monster. Crystal clear, sounding great. I appreciate that. His twin, salute, my guy. Salute his twin. C-Dub, salute, body, coming for some more knowledge. That's what we trying to do. Salute, C-Dub, appreciate you. But I wanna do this because a lot of people don't. That's why I say, when I say stakes in the ground, same thing I was doing for Subaru, same thing I've been doing for Tank all this time. On the time, times since I pretty much started, I was doing the same thing for Shakur up until recently. You know what I'm saying? Like once things get out of control and things start not, and I can't answer for certain things. Like for me, the size and kicking up against the pricks, it don't really make no sense to keep going down certain paths and doing certain things. But I've been laying stakes in the ground for a lot. Richardson Hitchens, pieces on Ray Ford, pieces on Shoo. Just following along, giving encouragement, and looking at everything from the lens of just a fan who knows a little bit, but's not going to be persuaded by the masses and what they got going on. Doing the same thing. And it's crazy. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I'm gonna leave y'all with this. I'm not gonna get off, but I'm gonna leave y'all with this before I show you this video, right? Before I show you this little thing. Man, I just seen with Mike Tyson, Iron Mike Tyson just said he don't want to see Bud versus Canelo. He wanted to see Bud face Jermell Charlo. That was Iron Mike. Now, a minute ago, I did a video about Jermell Charlo, and I said, man, Espinosa came out and said it's a lot of tread left on that tires, and I was pointing out the fact that people pick and choose when this legacy stuff matters, because I was saying that Jermell Charlo, he went around, he got undisputed, he ran through the gauntlet. He didn't lose to any of these young dudes, any of these young cats. He didn't lose to none of them. He was undisputed. The only thing he did was move up, and he suffered the same defeat that Berlanga did, who was naturally 168. He gets no respect. And I was saying, well, if anything, if Mel is in his right standing, he got a plan to come back. I said, what we all would want to see will be Bud against Mel. I got crucified. Iron Mike just came out and said that. He said, if not, then move up and fight the other brother. So I'm gonna touch on this. I'm gonna touch on that. I think Saturday morning. I'm gonna touch on that on Saturday morning. I said I'm gonna give that time to. I'm gonna let that breathe, man, because it's crazy how when you say some people, they'll kick against the pricks. Oh, you don't know nothing. Where you been? How you do? Look, you ain't no insider, but it takes somebody on the pulpit or somebody of high stature to say it before people believe it and run with it. No, it's just some of this is just common sense. Use your critical thinking skills, man. Like, everybody's selling something out here. But if we all kept the same, if we all pretty much within some kind of guidelines, kept some kind of rules on what should be happening, we wouldn't be that far off. why this beef, why this person beefing, why that person beefing, who don't like who said this and all that stuff wouldn't sway it. You might like this person accent, you might like this person in Southpaw, you might like whatever it is, but at least we'll be getting the fights. We'll have a unified voice and being able to speak and push behind what's right. We been knew that Bud and Mel should have been next. Only thing that changed it was Mel lost to Canelo, and then Bud went Canelo. And I finally said, okay, cool. If Bud gonna go up there and get Canelo, I understand, because he pretty much everything I keep seeing and hearing is that he want to do that and he want to ride up to the sunset. And I finally said, you know what? If that's what Bud want to do at this point in time, you know what I'm saying? So be it. Let him do it. I said, but what I would really want to see is him face Mel. Because we had all this buildup, all this animosity, all this back and forth after the Spence fight for that to happen. But they couple Mel and his brother together, and depending on which one is going through what, they'll couple them together. They'll both get a bum rap because of it. And for years, they tried to split them apart. That's why I said the other day when I did that piece the other day, and I said, man, I might have to do something on that called Bloodlines. The Vargases versus the Masons versus the Davises. And then you got the young Grandy twins coming up. You got a couple of them coming up. But I said, man, boxing is so crazy that, man, we got to support them all, because boxing, politics, and the way people drive these wedges between everybody are ones that's going to break that kind of stuff up. But that's what Mike said. Mike said that back then. Mike said that back then, but this is what I'm going to show y'all. And I played this not too long ago, but this we got to do this. I mean, you got the time, you got the time. You catch it on the playback, catch it on the playback. You know what I'm saying? Or stop it and then watch it again. But this is a short little piece right here that I got to play, because this is somebody that's been calling it straight down the middle the whole time. The whole time. I just want to see him fight, man. It's like, man, nothing else should get in the way, man. If it's a real good fight, it might be a trilogy. Why do we care? Look at this. This was what? April? This was April 28th, 2023. Only got 5 likes. It was like 99 views, which is nothing, right? You'll see it's nothing. That's nothing.
Benavidez, I just let everybody, but inside the ring, I just put nothing.
Welcome to Body Work. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Body Work Boxing. According to Boxing News 24 on April 26 by Joseph Heron, David Morrell Jr. has become Canelo's hitman for the WBA, claims coach Ronnie Shields. Joseph says, if you didn't already know, before this past Saturday evening, current regular WBA super middleweight title holder David Morrell Jr., 9-0 with 8 KOs, is a force with which to be reckoned. Although the night belonged to Gervonta Tank Davis with the dominant 7th round KO victory over Ryan Garcia at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, one could argue that the fighter most affectionately known as Osvari gave the 20,842 fans in attendance the most spectacular and brutal stoppage of the evening. It took the Cuban native less than a round to dispatch former Olympic bronze medalist Yamaguchi Falco in the scheduled 12-round contest with referee Celestino Ruiz, immediately calling a halt to the bout at the 2-minute and 22 mark of the opening stanza. Immediately following the contest, the 25-year-old switch-hitting phenom called out interim WBC super middleweight champ David Benavidez. When asked why he didn't publicly call out the undisputed 168-pound champ Canelo Alvarez, head coach Ronnie Shields had much to say about the matter. Why? Questioned the 5-decade fight trainer. It won't do any good. We have no confidence that Canelo will ever face either David of the division, Morrell or Benavidez. Alvarez has already publicly announced that he has no intention of facing his mandatories this year. I know technically John Wright is the WBO mandatory, but he's held that distinction for all of but 2 seconds. Canelo, North America's biggest boxing attraction over the past half-decade, like how they put that, hasn't faced the WBA mandatory challenger since earning the coveted distinction with the dominant victory over Callum Smith in December of 2020. With the scheduled match opposite John Ryder in 2 weeks and a proposed rematch with current WBA lightweight heavyweight champ Dimitri Bivol in September, Alvarez's calendar is ostensibly filled until 2024. To make matters more confusing, David Morrell Jr. has been issued the responsibility of taking on Canelo's mandatory challengers for the WBA since earning a regular title back in August of 2020. With savage knockout victories over Mario Abel Cazares in 2021 and the most recently Idas Yerbalshinelli in November of last year, it would seem that Morrell has indirectly discharged Canelo of any responsibilities to the WBA. It's confusing for the fans and completely unfair to my fighter, stated Ronnie Shields. While Alvarez isn't held accountable and is free to fight whomever he wants, moving from one division to the next, my fighter is taking care of all of Canelo's mandatory challenges. In fact, David should start using the nickname El Sicario, because that's what he's become to Alvarez, Canelo's unofficial hitman for the WBA. And all the while, we can't get a fight against Canelo Alvarez. Does that make any sense at all? Although the World Boxing Association has made attempts over the last year to consolidate their respective titles in each division, don't expect the sanctioning organization to make a similar effort at 168. As long as the WA can continue to collect 3% of Canelo Alvarez's purse in 2023, their belt is worth a lot more money around the waist of the current undisputed super middleweight champion. According to Ronnie Shields, Team Morrell isn't holding their breath any longer and making plans to take matters into their own hands. We know we'll never get to compete for a super WBA super middleweight championship as long as Canelo is their champion. So we hope to get the next best thing, David Benavidez, later this year. But after just 9 professional bouts on Ovari's resume, is the 25-year-old puncher ready for such a seemingly daunting task? My champion is ready for anybody at 168 and 175 pounds currently, claimed the prolific fight trainer. But are they ready for Morrell? Yikes! You know what I'm saying? There's so much to unpack. One, the politics of the belts. Yes, the belts are worth more in certain people's hands because of the draw that they bring, a la Canelo. Also, man, being in that position, holding that secondary belt, a regular belt, he's basically faced with all of Canelo's mandatories. So he's pretty much is Canelo's hitman, if you can say so. Ronnie Shields hit it all on the head. Man, they're calling out David Benavidez, you know, and they also said that he's ready for 168 and 175. David Morrell, man, that dude, you heard what he said. He said, outside, I respect everything and everybody, but inside the ring, I don't respect nothing, man. What do you think about this? You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is in your face. This is factual information since 2020. And do they have a point about Canelo being able to fight whoever he wants and all this? Because he pretty much on his farewell tour right now, because he can fight whatever, and it's all this smoke waiting for him. David Morrell, I call him the talented Mr. David Morrell, is waiting in the wings, and he's up on your heels, to include David Benavidez. Anyways, man, I just wanted to lay something on you, man, give you a lot to think about. El Sicario, a.k.a. the talented Mr. David Morrell, a.k.a. Osvari, 25-year-old Cuban phenom / nightmare. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the likes. Thanks for all my new subscribers. Thanks for people who share the videos and comment and leave feedback. Everybody with boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work. So when I tell you, man, I don't be out here just shooting from the hip, man. I don't be out here just getting in the way of fights. I be giving you in real time. This is not something new. I'm not one of these people just trying out here, just trying to cover my ass, and now they trying to give everybody credit because they've been running around stealing everybody's shit for the past decade. I give my sources when it's due. And we just saw in that video that I did of April of last year, April of 2023, where I outlined where the talented Mr. David Morrell had gotten to a spot where he was fighting Canelo Alvarez's WBA mandatories since 2020. It's 2024, y'all. And if you recall, he just moved up to 175. And the minute Edgar Berlanga got in that spot, Edgar Berlanga got the fight. So I tell you, they pick and choose the energy, they pick and choose the consistency, and they'll try to gaslight you and try to make you forget and think. That's why you need, I'm telling you, man, support the small channel, support the guys to where it's like, look, if you put it up to the light, if you put it on the scale, if you look at it under a petri dish, do that. I welcome you to do that to this channel. Put it under the light, put it up to the scope. Put it on the scale and see if it ain't 100. If it ain't 10 times 10, then stab me in the heart with a fork. You can't do it because it's not popular. Like somebody got to be around to try to say, hey, look, man, look. We appreciate what Canelo got going on, but this is the real. Like, yes, in the history books, in the age well games, it's gonna look real good. Like a lot of people's resume is gonna look real good in the age well games, but there's some people around that know during these times. That's why you can't get too heavy on anybody that's talking about what happened back in the day. Why? Because depending on who they like, it's people out here right now that will never respect LeBron James because they were Jordan fans. The dumbest shit in the world. So what I'm trying to ask y'all, man, in the actual factual pretense, and I have more information. It's more rocks in the slingshot. You know what I'm saying? I'm never at a loss for words. What I'm trying to ask is, if we got information, they saying this is up next in December on a Tank undercard, what we complaining about? Why can't every channel out here say, all right, yeah, I want to see that? So between now and next Wednesday, why can't every day, all day, we can't say, yep, we want to see that. Yep, we want to see that. Why can't we show that that's what we want to see? If they come out there, like, even if they do what like Berlanga did up against Canelo, even if they do that, where it go 12 rounds and somebody didn't outright quit, then you would have proved yourself. But I heard more people shitting on the talented Mr. David Morrell than ever because his first performance at 175, He didn't do what? He didn't do what? He didn't what? You even got one of the loudest speaker boxes out here talking about he think they lost. But guess what? This is the other game that they'll play with. This is the other game that they'll play on you. And let me check this shit. This is the thing. This is part of the gaslighting. That's why I go over it. This is what they do. This is what they do. He 11-0 with 9 KOs. He debuted in 2019. It's 2024, y'all. It's 5 years, y'all. 11 bouts, 5 years. This is what they'll do, right? You see these scorecards? So the ref was Ray Corona. You see these scorecards? 117, 111. 118 to 110. 117 to 111. Somebody stop me when I'm lying, but you'll hear their dumbasses out here talking about, well, I really think he lost. Well, what the fuck you, because they'll tell you, oh, it don't matter what you think, like in the Lomachenko and the Devin Haney fight, or anybody like the Ortiz and the Bohachuk fight, they'll tell you it don't matter what you think because the judges got it this way. Okay, well, it don't matter what the fuck you think because the judges had it 117 to 111, that's a blowout. 118 to 110, that's a blowout. 117 to 111, that's a blowout. That's a checkmate. That's why I say, man, I understand if you on a payroll and they putting a little like Frank Martin on it, and they, you know what I'm saying, they paying the bills, just say that. That's applaudable. People will be like, damn, well shit, I want to get in a position like that. But let's just say that, but let's not make it seem like it's all about boxing, it's all about records, it's all about this and this and that, because the talented Mr. David Morrell, this is a hot rod, 29-2. Do we need to go back down his resume? Because he had already been there. He had already been there with who? Senna Begko. Yamaguchi Falco. He was a silver medalist in the Olympics, but that shit don't matter. Ados, you're Balsanelli. What happened with him? Look at these records. 29-2, 28-2, 24-1, 16-0, 15-1, 28-2. 12-0, 26-3. Point out the light touch, the soft touch. In 2020, this man was fighting somebody that was 22-0-1. What are we talking about? 15-6-2. That's still not bad. Got him out of there in the second round. The debut might have been it absolutely is 2-6, but that's the debut. What else can we? I've seen worse. So every like perplexing end at every corner, like we can shut it down with actual factual content, man. Stop letting them put that battery in your back, man, because you know we having more people get in the way of more people are getting in the way of fights than they are actually helping us to actually get the fights. And because they have a vested interest, a political interest, they fence ride every goddamn day. They flip-flop every goddamn day. As a grown man, I don't want to be jumping up and down on no goddamn pogo stick, man. All day, every day, man. Up and down. That's not becoming. So stop trying to gaslight everybody, man. This is probably the last thing before I actually come out. I'm just going to put this at the light. Appreciate you, C-Dub, man. I appreciate you, man. That means a lot, man. That means a lot, bro. For real, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Thank you. This is before I come out and actually talk to everybody or whatever, man. This is the I appreciate you, man. Because these people will sit up here and lie and put batteries in your back all goddamn day, man. And people just send money and just, and it's because it make you feel. I appreciate that, man. I had to put that out there for that. This is the last thing I want to do before I come out, man. Put the link out and then, you know, chop it up with whoever's available, man. This is the last thing I'm going to put out here. This is the last thing that I'm going to put out here. But we got to do this, man, because people will be. People have gotten so relaxed and so you let your guards down, man. And like me, I might overdo it. Maybe that's the military in me. Maybe that's growing up in Maryland, DC area. Maybe I always have my defenses up. Maybe I do, right? But at some point in time, it's like, man, I've accepted it, man. When it's, you know, when it's time, it's time. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna be me, man. I've always been like that. I can't conform. I cannot not be myself, man. I can't, but it's like I say, man, when you're dealing with somebody, let's say like your parents or your grandparents, right? It's important that you talk to them and you let them know, man, like, look, the only thing constant is change. And the older you get, the better you got to be able to adapt. If you're at the mercy of somebody, like, let's just say you're at the mercy of somebody preparing your food. Like the same situation we in when, you know, say you go to any restaurant, you're at the mercy of somebody preparing your food. But what if you can chef? What if you know what caters to your body type? What's conducive to your bowels? What's healthy for your skin? What's gonna help you lose weight even when, in them times where you ain't exercising, what's gonna help you lose weight even then? It's gonna be your diet. But what if you always at the mercy of somebody else feeding you? Well, if they don't cook, you don't eat. We understand that with every other thing. Why do we get like that when it comes down to our information? Yeah, 7-Eleven. I was told, my mother told me when I was younger, I saw it at my uncle and now, you know what I'm saying, just being an over-the-road truck driver too over some years, like a while back, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, 7-Eleven has the best coffee. You know that. Everybody gonna get up and go 7-Eleven and get that coffee, especially at a certain point in time before they really change their recipe. People love Starbucks for the very same thing. Yes, you go there, but like, do you know you can prepare your own coffee? It's just like if you ever make home-made egg rolls, like if you ever make them right and they're better than anything you can get in any restaurant. Why? Because you prepared them. You know. Why do we get like that with our information? You open yourself up to where anybody can open you up, insert whatever they want. That's why I say surgery is one of the most dangerous things that can happen. Why? Because when you get at the mercy of a doctor and all they get you to do is convince you that your first question when they tell you, oh, this would need to be done, their first question they ask you ask them is, well, will I feel anything? They'll say no. Once they tell you no, you're not gonna feel anything, you're gonna be open to accept the surgery. Why? Because they're gonna give you anesthesia. And a lot of us are anesthetized, man. Once you start looking at people in this light to where they're your doctor, they're your pastor, they this and that, once they open up and perform surgery on you, you're going to be anesthetized. You ain't going to feel shit. How many times you seen cases where they left scalpels in people? Tools in people? Why you going to go to McDonald's and buy a salad when you can go and get the cucumber, the lettuce, and the tomato with some vinegar and the right seasoning, you in there like swimwear with the best salad in the world. Why? Because you washed it. You looked over it. But in 2024, everything is about convenience. So people just inundate you with information. You like, oh, yeah. And anytime you see somebody that's not as big as them, it's like, oh, you just hating. You just want to be where. It's like, man, cut that shit out. I just want to tell the truth. How about that? I just want to walk the line. How about that? I just want to not get in the way when it's a big fight. How about that? At light heavyweight, they got the WBC. They got Artur Beterbiev, and then right up under him, the interim champ, David Benavidez. So with the WBA, they got Dmitry Bivol, and right under that, who they got? David Morrell. Let's stop right there. If David Benavidez is in line for Artur Beterbiev, the winner of Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol, which is coming up on October the 12th, undisputed. And these two guys are next in line. Why are we hearing people come out and say that this person and that person need to go, or no, they don't need to do this? It's like, what? You're not a boxing fan. You're not a boxing fan. You're part of a tribe. You're part of a tribe. You under doctrine. You indoctrinated. You've been anesthetized. Somebody left a scalpel, aka a battery in your back. It's ridiculous because we can use these rankings to our advantage. I've never heard to where a fight between Benavidez and Morrell come up and everybody talking about Anthony Yarde. He's across the pond. And I rocks with Anthony Yarde, but why do we do that? Two of our own is over here, but like I said, it's the infatuation with the foreign. And stop me when I'm lying. It's the infatuation with the foreign. Or it got to be some kind of hidden agenda. Because between the speaker box and the couch and everybody else, it's like you would be dazed and confused, running around getting misused and abused. And it's disgusting. Why? So you could be in with the in crowd? For what? That's not going to lead to us not getting a big fight. And then you're going to have to come back and eat crow or say you was wrong or stop gaslighting and change yourself or reinvent yourself tomorrow. Why do that every day? Look at these names up here. Who do you know up here? We know Vosdick. We know Callum Smith. Everybody know Yard. If you stop somebody in the corner right now and you ask them, some people might know Ben Whitaker. My old head know Ben Whitaker. For some kind of reason. Powell Stepien, Ronald Gavril. I've actually heard to where they was accepting of, listen to this, Jaime Munguia. They was accepting, there was no backlash, there was no nothing about Jaime Munguia. But they was accepting to hear Jaime Munguia might fight Ronald Gavril. You know how long ago David Benavidez fought Ronald Gavril, and for Jaime to have come off of a Canelo fight to fight the dude he just fought and then get a Ronald Gavril, it was silence. That's how you know people are tribal. It's okay. It's okay, but stop gaslighting everybody. Because it's not acceptable for Jaime Munguia to fight no goddamn Ronald Gavril, but then you out here with one of the loudest speaker boxes in the biggest couches to get between the David Benavidez and the David Morrell fight. It don't make no sense, man. Like, you could be the biggest and the baddest. Yeah, you could be the Drake of this shit. I'm still gonna come through and poke holes in this shit like the Lloyd Banks of this shit. Look at all these names up here. Jerome Papalone, Vasily Wojciechowski, Dan Aziz, Craig Richards. People know Craig. If you've been watching people across the pond, I've been saying Lyndon Arthur. Nobody ever bite on nothing, but that's a common opponent with Dmitry Bivol. I got shot down. And that's because I seen him fight Dmitry Bivol, and he had a little bit of, just to know who Dmitry Bivol was fighting, because I'm a Bivol fan. I had to get to know who this guy was and see what he was doing and what he had going on. Got dispatched. Volstick, we know who he is. Dan Aziz. It's the same names, but who know these people? Juan Carrillo, Conor Wallace, Ali Ismailov. You don't even know these people. So if you come out and you say you don't want to see this right here, it's just you got an agenda. You don't know what the fuck you talking about. It's getting disgusting, man. We don't want to see the fights. It's like Mike Tyson said. Mike Tyson said there are no egos in boxing no more. There are no egos in boxing today. There used to be egos in boxing today. We all couldn't be standing around at 135 talking about we the best. No, we got to see each other. And it's a parallel between this boxing shit and the rap game, because I remember one time it was DMX, it was Jay-Z, it was Biggie, it was Meth, it was Red. It ain't nobody wanted to sound alike. And if you featured on a track, you wanted to kill the other one. Now then it changed with the Kurt Cobain and all this other stuff to where it got okay for, then the auto-tune came and it was okay for you to sound like this and sound like somebody else. Now it's okay if you come up and you had the same symbol and you in a box like this and you get your hair braided like that. Boxing counsels all that shit. You can't auto-tune that boxing shit. You can't. When you get squeezed like a sponge and it's just you and him in the middle of that ring, you ain't gonna be able to auto-tune that shit. You might be able to get a ref to intervene, not kind of knock down and shit. But if you don't get that man out of there, it's going to the judges and shit. Let's wake up, y'all. Let's stop being easily moved, man. Stop letting people put batteries in your back. Use your critical thinking skill. This rote memory style of learning, and then in today's day and time where it's like bullying is people that can say this and it's massive in numbers, I don't give a fuck. You can have all the numbers you want, but if you tell somebody to go down a one-way street and at the end it's a bridge with a cliff and everybody telling you to go down there, I'm gonna be like, nah, dog. Been down there, man. Don't go down that road. I'm at least gonna say something. They're gonna steal you right off and then laugh at you because you just took them blindly. Or they're gonna be like, oh, my bad, man. I meant to tell you, man. Don't make that left, man. I did, man. My bad. But because it's boxing, don't really mean that much. Like, no, man. They manipulating you, man. They done got you away from actually using your critical thinking skills. They done got you away from actually using your critical thinking skills, like your own analysis. Is just like, soon as somebody say something is this, it happens in churches all the time. Soon as the pastor say it's this, you know how dangerous that is? That's how cults happen. But I definitely ain't come out here to do no preaching. What I did, I came out here to say that, listen, it should be nothing. It should be nothing that we should be saying or be asking for that's going to get in the way of this fight. You can look at the facts. You can, because I find it real crazy how everybody's praising Edgar Berlanga for surviving 12 rounds, surviving Canelo Alvarez for 12 rounds, shitting on Jermell Charlo, and now this passed on to David Morrell and David Benavidez. Why? You know, the common denominator is with PBC, but it really goes deeper than that. It really goes deeper than that, man. I'm not gonna get into it, but it really goes deeper than that. And this fight is exposing everybody. Everybody's first reaction, everybody's long-lasting reaction, the loudest speaker box and the biggest couch. When you sit down, you analyze what they actually say about this fight, they are exposing themselves. Maximum exposure. Because they're not going to give Benavidez credit for fighting on somebody like David Morrell. They're going to undermine David Morrell, and they're going to talk about they both didn't look the same way they looked at 168. That's even Steven. But because Devin moves up to 140 after having fought Lomachenko, did he get a Regis Prograis? And because he did what he did in Regis Prograis, where in all actuality, it was still all the advantages. But when these guys moved up to a weight class, they didn't have all the advantages. And somehow, some way, they got the dubs. I don't know what more you gotta do, but you let some people tell it, like when they get too big for their britches and they know so much and they do this, you can't tell them shit. I be like, all right, man, watch out for that cliff, but they're gonna drive like, cause they know better than you. They know better. And it's pride before destruction. So it's a lot of ego in boxing talk, but it ain't no ego amongst these guys. I would applaud these guys if they got in the ring and they fought each other. But you're not gonna convince me, because what you seen with David Morrell and Hot Rod and what you seen with Benavidez and Volzdeck, that this fight don't need to happen. That was their first time up. When Bud moved up and he did his thing, you know what I'm saying, and he fought Madrimov, Bud didn't look like the Bud that he was when he was at 47. That's just the fact of the matter. Did nobody say he shouldn't go up and fight Canelo? We exposing ourselves, man, based on how you look and how you think and who put that battery in your back or gave you that Kool-Aid that you drinking. You might want to get off that ship because it's sinking. Fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. I've been trying to keep these things at around about an hour. I've been trying to keep them around about an hour, just, you know, for people who catch them on the playback. What's going on, C-Dub?
What's up, body? What's good, man?
What's happening, man? What's on your mind?
What's on my mind is that with the David, I mean, I agree with you, most of it, but with the David, you know, he fought Boo Boo Andre, and I thought that was a good move by him because I thought he would have lost to Boo Boo, and then but you know, because of Canelo, you know, because he didn't want to fight him. So I'm not trying to make no narratives or nothing like that because Canelo just didn't want to fight him. But, yeah, I would like to see him. But David did say he will fight David Morrell. I don't know why he's acting like he's acting. You know what I mean? Because today I saw something on, I was watching something on YouTube, and he said that he gonna fight Jesse. That was his last name, Jesse Hart. And then I found out that was a false narrative right there with David. So I don't know what's going on with that. But I do want to see the best fight the best. See, I'm not with that, you know, trying to invent the fights and everything. No, I want to see the best fight the best, you know. These fighters, you're right. Mike Tyson's right. There ain't no more ego in this sport, you know, because the best is say, hey, man, are you the best? I'm going to fight you. You the best? I'm going to fight you. There ain't this, like I said, like I told you before, it ain't going to be no 5, 6 years, and then you guys want to fight. No, let's get it on. You say you're the best.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I wanted to talk to you about, I know you said, I mean, I know it's boxing, but you said a lot of people say, I don't think everybody, but you said that people don't like LeBron because of Michael Jordan. You know, they won't say that LeBron James is better than LeBron James is not better than Michael Jordan because they like Michael Jordan That's why they don't
No,
like LeBron.
let me clarify it. Let me clarify it. I say that there are some people out here that won't give LeBron James the respect he deserves because they liked Michael Jordan.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's in people, and I'm glad you asked for that. But I put it like this: you'll never hear somebody like Jackie Chan shitting on Bruce Lee, or Jet Li shitting on Jackie Chan. But amongst us, we'll do that, and that don't matter. It's like we can't. Some people can't appreciate Iverson for what you name him today is doing today. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just, and we'll go out of our way to do that. You see what I'm saying? It's like, no, you kind of got to put it in the right perspective. It's like people ain't going to be able to appreciate Tank because of what Floyd was. People can't appreciate Shakur because of what Floyd was. People can't appreciate Floyd because of what Sugar Ray Leonard was, especially when they hold the narrative in their hand. You see what I'm saying?
Understanding. Cause
that's what I meant by that.
Oh, okay. Cause I was about to say, cause I'm a Michael Jordan fan, but I'm not a LeBron fan at all. Even if I am a Laker fan, but the stuff that I saw with my eyes with LeBron, I don't even put him in the GOAT conversation. So because the things that he done, I mean, I don't go by stats and everything like that. I go as watching the player, you know what I mean? Just like I watch a boxer or a fighter, I watch them. You know what I mean? Because I don't really care most of the time what they say, because everybody's human. They gonna say what they want to say. You know what I mean, Body? So I just, you know, I'm a Michael Jordan. I mean, I have the mentality just like a Michael Jordan. When I'm in battle, that's what it's all about. LeBron James, a little different. You know, he's more flippy floppy, more, you know, what I see guys out here today. You know what I mean? I don't see that killer instinct. You know what I mean? Like when I used to play sports, it was no friends on the I had friends, but they wasn't my friends when I got on that basketball court. It just was different. So I understand what you mean, but I can't rock with that, Michael. You know that, you know, no.
Yeah, I could say, but see, the thing is, this was so crazy about it. I could say the same thing about Conor McGregor. I could take it all the way over to the UK. You bring up Conor McGregor, some people gonna say he the best thing since sliced bread. Some people gonna say, nah, man, look at him, he's a bum, and they're gonna run it down. That's just our nature as fans. That's just our nature as fans. You know what I'm saying? It's like I saw. I'll give you another example. Okay. I saw, and I got to go back and do it more thorough, but I saw something with Lennox Lewis on it, and he was chiming in on what happened with AJ. Right, and he had real concern, but for some people that can't evaluate AJ in a vacuum, AJ was never gonna be that good because they was in love with Lennox Lewis, but different time, different era. Like for me, let's put myself in this. I might not have ever truly been in love with what I saw in Deontay Wilder. One, because I grew up fighting. That's one. That's first and foremost. But because I saw what Lennox Lewis was able to do, it's like, and even my lady, I'll bring it to my lady. It's like, even when she see people and I'm like, oh, they heavyweight, and she be like, man, his titties bigger than mine. Like she'll say, you know what I'm saying? It's like it was just different. So that I might not have ever, like, I might have had an inherent bias where I might not have ever seen the greatness in Deontay Wilder because I was in the Lennox Lewis era, and I saw him and I saw Holyfield. Like, so I might not ever be all the way on Usyk because I saw Holyfield. So I find myself in those categories, and I try to say, all right, now that I know, now that I know what I know about Mike Tyson since he was the guy, and I look at his resume and I'm doing my homework about the timing and all that, because at that age I didn't know. I just knew that he was one of the baddest men on the planet. But now I go back and look, the stats, the strength of schedule, all of that stuff kind of matter in the kind of shape and mold to say, okay, cool, well, he might not have been fighting the best competition, but what did he do to demand the people? So what I'm trying to say is I don't look at everything in a vacuum like that. Like, it's not like I had to analyze everything in a certain kind of way to where I can give a bunch of examples of why some people might hate Mike, some people might love R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? You can't deny the music that he made, but you might think he is scum and something. Just because he was a scumbag, they might say, "Oh man, he was never a good singer anyway." And it's like that's cap.
That's
You know
cap.
what I'm saying? So
That's
so we
cap.
can say, you know, we can do that with everything. I'm just trying to say that in this present day and time, the big thing that I meant was it's a lot of people out here driving wedges into these fights. You know what I'm saying? They dividing the highways of getting these big fights, and it's premature. Why? Because we're starving for them. And boxing is not like you said. You can agree that what Mike said when Mike said there's no ego no more, meaning like he thought he was the baddest man. It's like nobody else could be running around. I don't care how many belts it was. You can't be running around talking about you the best heavyweight in the world. We got to see each other. It's like that energy ain't really there today.
Yeah.
Or it's there, but it's not the same. And unless you recognize it fully from whatever angle you watching it, then you won't really see it. You just, boxing is just fly by and you'll just be satisfied and you'll just be wanting, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I see some YouTubers, I don't want to say their name, some content creators, man, they don't, it seem like, if it's their favorite fighter, they try like they don't want to see that fight. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, man, like I just want to see the best, man. I mean, I don't want to be in their money. I don't want to be in, saying that this guy's a duck, this guy's a duck. Nah, man, you guys could, like I told you guys earlier, you guys call each other, you guys say, hey, man, let's get it on and let's go. I don't understand what's going on with that. You know what I mean? I want to see the best fight the best, man. I'm tired of these narratives out on these YouTube streets. I just turn it off after a while, man, because I'm like, I don't. And then, some of these guys over here ain't even qualified to tell you that, you ever saw, terms of a contract or a contract of a boxer, but they still just talk. You know what I mean, Body? I mean, I don't understand it, man. I mean, I do the same. I look at Google, see what's going on, but I don't know everything about boxing. That's why I go to you guys, my guys that I like listening to. I go to you guys to tell me the truth. You know what I mean? And that's why I like y'all. So that I rock like that. I don't like being lied to. I'm not that kind of I guess whatever you guys want to call me. I don't know, man. You use your critical thinking skills. Like, think about it. Like, everywhere you go, it's an arrow pointing this way. Go this way, that way. You're like, hold on, man. Is that really the fastest way? Like, you use your critical thinking skills. So you're gonna question. You're not just gonna be spoon fed a bunch of shit. It's like, no, you're gonna listen. You're gonna analyze. And you're gonna rebut with like, no, you're not just gonna take everything. I don't want people like that. That's why I like people who challenge me. I'm like, hey, look, challenge me. If I ain't right, school me, pull me to my coattail. But in this era, you can't do that or you're hating. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that or you're trying to, what you trying to do? You think it's like, no, man. It's like at the end of the day, the way boxing is going, especially with, the novelty boxing, the crossover boxing, you got, we was getting ready to give full reins to somebody whose agenda is not solely based for the profits over here. Like, give them full reins to the whole game. Like, that's dangerous for people over here. You know what I'm saying? But people don't use their critical thinking skills anymore. Like me, I challenge stuff and I give people the benefit of the doubt. And I say, you know what? In hindsight, yeah, well, I can see how they saw that and I do that. But that's something that comes along with maturity. It comes along with like maturing, like just like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, we know that as fans, we want our pound of flesh. But I'm telling you now, people are starting to use the business of boxing to get in the way of fights,
to justify why fights can't happen. Like, but when you ask them about their boxer, oh no, that's different.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, because listen, C-Dub, what did you think about what I said? Now, I did the video in April of last year. Now, David Morrell, regardless, you seen his resume. We know how many fights he got. He was fighting Canelo Alvarez as mandatory all of that time. The minute he said, when David Benavidez said, hey, I'm moving up, and David Morrell said, you know what, I'm moving up too because I want this guy, which is activity of somebody that's really chasing and in hot pursuit. When he did that, Edgar Berlanga jumped in that spot, and then Edgar Berlanga got that. Nobody is saying nothing. You know why? Because if you say that, it's like I'm going against New York. I'm going against Puerto Rico. I'm going against Berlanga and anybody who rock with them or any channel that's affiliated. It's like, no, I'm going against common goddamn sense.
Yeah.
Why didn't Morrell, like, you can say whatever you want about his resume, but if he got to a spot because of his amateur pedigree, because the fight that Bud just got with Madrimar was mainly on his amateur pedigree. He fought for a vacant. He just got that belt in March, and it was acceptable because Bud was moving up to another weight class to fight that guy with 13 fights, I believe. Well, Osvari, the talented Mr. David Morrell, he's in the same position, only he was able to get a quote-unquote secondary belt, and he was actually fighting the mandatories for the WBA. He moves out of his spot and moves up, and the guy that gets in there gets a fight instantly. And in that video, the nutritional value in that video is because at that point in time, April last year, that's when they was actually talking about John Ryder, and golly, they said he only had it for a split second before he got it. He was only sitting in it was the same thing as an Edgar Berlanga. But when you point that out to a Canelo fan or somebody that rock with the activity, you're a hater. It's like, no, that's history. But it's not popular to say that. Why? Because if you do a video about Canelo and you put some knee pads on, some throat coats, some constant jewelry, you know what I'm saying? Somebody gonna hit your cash out. You see what I'm saying? But that's not like that. That's what leads to what we at now, to where the man need to be going off doing exhibitions or whatever you call them with Tiger Woods and getting that bag over there. Let the straps go. You know what I'm saying? Let the young guns, you know what I'm saying, get they into the Badlands on it and duke it out to see what's going on in the future, because after Canelo hang him up, the boxing got to go on. When Tank hang him up, boxing got to go on. Shakur, Bud, all these boxing got to go on. But the people like the Canelos who set this precedence, they set a precedence for everybody who come behind them. When people start moving like them, they're like, oh, no, they want to point out all their flaws. But it's like, no, he moving like your boy. So if we're going to keep the same standard, let's just keep the same standard.
Yep, I agree with you, man, 100%. I mean, I feel like, you know, if Canelo don't want to fight no more, he have those belts like you said, you know, and he ain't fighting nobody. He's basically cherry picking everything. Let those things go and do what Floyd's doing. Absolutely.
What up, Smoke? Salute to Smoke, man. What it do, my guy? What's going on, man? We just C-Dub say what's up. Hey, yeah, we just chopping it up, man. I just put out my piece about, you know, the funny fans nowadays, where we're getting more in front of the fights, and you be saying it on your channel, find a new boxer that you like, move on, be happy about the fights we're getting. And I'm seeing more curtailing, more excuses, more roadblocks when fights are up there because of what? And I'm not understanding the interest unless we know that there's agenda. We know there's agenda.
Yep. Don't mess up that money. Shoot. Cause I can't keep seeing Canelo up there making 35. I'm not in his pockets, but he ain't happy. He ain't making me happy, man. He ain't fighting nobody that I want to see. Edgar, yeah. He did good. He went 12 rounds with him. But, man, it wasn't the fight I wanted to see. But you ask those Mexican people, because Trey, hold on.
Well, the way I see it, it's almost like a certain community, right? It's almost like with this certain community, you can't just be okay with accepting it and acknowledging, say, oh, okay, cool, that's cool with me. That's that's behind closed doors. I don't care. I don't, you can't just say, oh yeah, that's cool with me and blah blah blah. It's like, no, they gotta like no puff. They gotta like shove it down your throat. It's like, no, hold on, man. We said we okay, we cool, but why every time we turn around you gotta no puff, shove it down our throat? It's like, okay, cool. If Canelo want to move like that, we okay, we cool. It's like, all right, cool. You did this, but don't try to make it seem like you knew the greatest, because a lot of people will do a video and it'll be like, what do you think about this and this and that? And anything you say that's contrary to what's going on and with Canelo, or the blatant glaring signs about it, oh, you just hating. It's just like, man, is that the new thing now? You don't really want to talk boxing. Like, you just really want to, like, you want people to pull it out and put on knee pad. Some of us ain't gonna do it.
You're right, buddy. You're right.
You ain't putting them on, man. Like, you can try to, you can do it. I wouldn't ask you to hold your breath, because I would be, signing somebody's D certificate. I wouldn't ask you to do it, but some of us ain't going, man. It ain't a bag big enough. It ain't nothing you can get us to do to put the dress on or to be like, okay, cool, we're not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we don't want to soar that high. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be that high. You know what I'm saying? We good where we at. We're going to go on and see what they ain't going to be like, but we're going to keep it a buck all the way down the goddamn road.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's it, man. But I appreciate you coming up here, man. Anything else, like outside of what, because I bring the segment for the day, but, I'm always open to what's on people's minds and stuff like that, as far as what's been going on with boxing lately. You guys, you wanna?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, like I asked my buddy, my boy Sauce. I asked you that same question. What you think about Canelo want to rematch Floyd Mayweather? What you think about that, Body? I have to ask, man.
I got two answers. Okay. If I'm going to do the proverbial put my business hat on, I would never say, hey, man, if you gonna give me, listen, if you gonna give me $5,000 to mount a TV in your living room, you know what I'm saying, all it is a couple studs, who am I to say, C-Dub, yay, man, like, damn, that's wrong, man. You don't charge that old lady $5,000 to mount that TV right there, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. I ain't gonna do it. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So that's the bullshit answer. The other answer is, like, you still an active boxer, dog. He's not active. He's doing exhibitions. That shit don't make sense to me. And then that's for Canelo, that'll almost be like, I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? I would never stop a man from getting the bag. You know what I'm saying? If that's what he got on the table, but I don't like it. I don't understand it. I mean, if they want to, if they want to do it once he go on his farewell tour, like when he really cross over the box and he really hang it up and it's an exhibition, do it as an exhibition. But like to come back, you saying for him to come back and to be official?
What about, okay, why he last fight when he fought Edgar, right? He said that he fights young people, he fight older people, right? And I'm the best, and da 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 da, right? Okay, what about you fight one of our best, Andre Ward? Would that be a better fight for you? He's retired. You're gonna have a retiring people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
And that was on my mind, really. I just wanted to ask you about it.
I would agree with that, because it's like Ward still got that itch. He still got that. It's like that bug. You know what I'm saying? He still kind of got that bug. And as far as weight classes and all that, it'll be better. Like, as far as that'll be more better. I think that'll be more better. I think I would accept that. Let Andre Ward get that itch, and then let Canelo really prove. That's more logical than Floyd. Like Floyd, because of his size now, and then he's doing exhibition. I don't like that. But the Ward one, I would be more open to Ward doing it than Floyd doing it.
Okay.
That's just my honest opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And
that's
then,
how I
and, and then I wanted to ask you about I don't know what fight that Tank is fighting, but they said it's supposed to be Rocha. What you think about that fight? If they fight, I don't know if it's gonna be. I'm just asking because I know you like Tank, so.
I mean, I'm like, if I could fast forward to fight night and they yell ding ding ding, okay, cool. But the shit between now and then, I'm not for all the shit between now and then because it's 1,000 reasons. It's reasons why we landed here, we landed there. But then I'm starting to ask. This is my question.
Okay.
It's two different philosophies. One of these things is like where the same measuring stick that I use on boots, and I'm looking at Eddie and I'm saying, okay, Eddie, well, at this point in time, this is what you have to do for boots. How come everything that you're entangled in and everything that you have yourself involved in, it seems like it's never enough to get it across the hump. So I'm looking at Eddie like, man, listen, you already know they want a bag, an absorbent amount of bag, like, to get it over the hump. So I'm blaming Eddie because he's not getting it over the hump. Right?
I agree with
when
you.
I look at Tank and I say, okay, cool, well, Loma, I have to reason because I have no concrete evidence whatsoever. I have to reason that Loma was going to get way more than he ever made in his life. I would have to reason that. Way more than he's ever made in his life. He say, no, I'm going to go do my family thing. Shakur, he made his decision. Right? But if you reached out, my question would be, which I'll never have the answer to, is, are you making these guys an offer that they can't refuse? And if so, that would solidify that everybody is truly ducking. Right?
Right.
If you're not making them an offer that they can't refuse, but you're giving them like their highest payday, more than they ever made, right? If you're actually, it's not like, God damn, I gotta absolutely do it. You know what I'm saying? But it's more like, okay, well, shoot, okay, all right, cool. Well, how you want it? Like, what you want? If it's like that, and they're saying, I'm gonna bet on myself, like how they do in football, like when you get that franchise tag and you don't really want to play that last year because if you blow your knee out, like what's my man from South Carolina? The running back from South Carolina that year, man, one of the worst injuries I seen, but blew his leg out, man. Senior year going into the league, he was gonna be a beast too. But if you get into a franchise situation and they don't pick you up, you don't get no long term, but you that guy, and you know that all it takes is a hamstring, or ACL, or fucking blown knee, anything, and you don't want to do it, and you're deciding that you want to go this other route, betting on yourself because you think that, okay, this next fight I'm gonna show the world and then I'm gonna double back around. I can kind of say that's how Shakur got caught up, right? At the end of the day, I'm like, people say they want to see him fight the best, but I'm like, are the best of making themselves available, or is it a matter of these guys not getting offers that they can't refuse? I can't answer. I can't get to the right person. I can't get past the representatives to actually get these kind of answers.
Okay.
But I'm thinking, man, is Tank giving them the offer that they can't refuse, or is it might not even be an offer that they can't refuse? Is he still giving these guys more money than they've ever made, and they're still saying, no, if I hold off, I can get more? So I have questions. Roach, he's a local guy. You know what I'm saying? I would never be against a local guy. I think that maybe the Russell thing, Gary Russell would have been a bigger fight because of the history and all that, but with Gary Russell's activity and all that, and then like the relationship between them, because it wasn't always like that, and there's something in between them that the world probably will never know. and that would have been a bigger fight. But I know it's not what fans want to see right now, because a lot of fans they like Roach, but they know that he can't beat Tank.
Okay.
I mean, he got more than a puncher's chance, because you know what I'm saying. But like, it's not right now. It's not what people want to see. But who am I going to? Because if I was going to do it, I would put on a speakerphone and have a big ass couch and be saying, "Man, fuck this Roach fight. I don't want to see it." I'm not going to be the one to say that. I'm just going to say, "Hey man, the guys, who else y'all want him to fight? I mean, who else can he fight?"
I had a guy in mind.
Who?
Delisano. I
keep seeing. I
thought
keep
about that. I'm sorry, my bad, buddy. I thought about that though. I said, yeah, so Shakur, everybody say he didn't have a good performance. Up one Shakur, if that's the case, he was so easy to beat. So what about Delisano? I mean Delisano. Now I keep saying his name.
I've been wanting to see De Los Santos, the grenade. I call him the grenade. I've been wanting to see that fight. I've been wanting to see it. Like I've been wanting to see it, but with that, you're gonna have the people who didn't give Frank Martin any credit. They didn't give him any credit for Frank Martin, so it's gonna be, oh man, they already tried to do it. Oh man, he gonna fight. Why don't he fight Shakur leftovers? It's like Shakur's leftovers. Like, he got away with the dub, but for me, I'm the type of person, like, if I did my homework and my handwriting wasn't right and there was a whole bunch of scribble marks, I'm like, I need a new sheet of paper. Let me do this shit again, man. Let me just make sure that all this shit is clear. That was just me, though. But I love that fight.
I
think
too.
That's more intriguing to me, like matchups, like stylistic and matchup wise, because of how explosive De Los Santos is. He's slightly bigger than Tank. He's actually kind of big. Like, that's like, as far as if I'm in this line and I got this line, if I put away my bias, like two guys from Maryland fighting. Because if the two guys from Maryland fighting, the Maryland and me say I'm standing in the Maryland line. As far as matchup and me wanting to see this guy and the potential of something going sideways, it's more risk and more danger and more intrigue in the De Los Santos fight. So I would love to support the Maryland guys, but inside the ring and skill set wise and what can happen, it's more questions and danger with the De Los Santos fight. That's the best way I can answer that, man. I would rather see that, and you're gonna hear it on both sides. But yeah, matchup wise, De Los Santos.
Gotcha. But yeah, I have to go. Buddy, thank you for the talk, man. The knowledge too, brother.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for that super chat too, man. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the support. It means a lot, bro.
All right, man.
All right, man. Have a good evening.
All right, peace.
All right, bro. Champion Sports Boxing. Salute, Champion Sports Boxing. Salute. Hey, body work. What's going on? Smoke. Chris Eubanks on one, calling all of the zone scumbags except Turk. Yeah, it's funny you say that, man. I wanted to chime in earlier, man, but I didn't want to steal your thunder, man. I didn't want to steal your thunder, but it's crazy when I do videos like this. When I do videos like that, or pose questions like this, it seems like it always takes for a boxer like Eubanks to come out and say some shit like what he said earlier, and it gets it gets the attention for people to really start listening and saying, hold on, man. Now, what incentive would what incentive would Eubanks have to actually get out there and say that? Unless it was the truth. Unless it was the truth, man. I mean, you got people say, oh man, it's crazy. You got Eddie Snake Devin now and how he's saying this about Devin. I'm like, well, what about all the stuff he was saying about Deontay Wilder? And then when he actually signed Wilder, everybody was like, oh, okay, cool. It's just like, man, we know they all, to a certain extent, man, got some kind of funny smell to him, right? A little stench to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because it's the name of the game, man. Promotion, man. Until you figure it out, it's like, okay, cool. That's the cost of learning. It's like, who want to learn how to not get hustled out of money? Somebody come up. All right, I want to learn how to not get hustled out of money. All right, okay, cool. Give me $10. All right. I thought you were going to teach me how to not get hustled out of money. I did. Come back tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? It's just that blatant. You know what I'm saying? You go away thinking like, hold on, man. I ain't going back tomorrow. I ain't never giving nobody, I ain't never going to give nobody no $10 like that again. That's the name of promotion, man. They're going to, you know what the lock said? You remember what the lock said, man, on that? We'll be you know what I'm saying? Raping you records. That's the name of the promotion game, man. And Eubanks, I guess people could say he burned a lot of bridges, but one of them boxers that cruiserweight champion, I seen the interview that he did, and he was like, man, Chris had some cojones. And maybe he said something that a lot of people wait until, he said basically that a lot of people will wait until they retire to basically say these things. And he said there was a lot of young people and a lot of older people that were looking at Chris for saying that, saying, you know what? We appreciate you. We ain't gonna be able to stand in solidarity with you out and about, out in public, and let you know that, hey, what you just said was everything that we needed to hear. But we admire you for saying that, man. And somebody need to say it. Because it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like, depending on what side of the street you on or what tribe you in, you can see the flaws on the other side. Like if you was just a diehard PBC guy, you see all the flaws in Bob. Right? If you was a diehard Bob Arum guy and everything top run, you see all the flaws in Eddie and Al. If you a hardcore Eddie Hearn fan, oh man, you got tons and tons of things that you can shit on Bob about, and you probably won't even, you probably don't even like when Al Heyman name come up if you was a diehard Eddie Hearn fan. But what did that tell you? It's always flies in the ointment. It's who's painting the picture on the canvas. Who's controlling the narrative? And if it's compelling enough, if they season them collard greens good enough, you're going back. If the first time you hit, it was all that in a bag of chips, you know, it's a lot of things going on, man. It's a lot of things going on in the sport of boxing, man. And it's some things that I came across. And one of them was that basically Bacoli, he want to fight Zhang, but I don't think Zhang want that smoke. Bacoli, man, he done got high off that win off of Jared Anderson, man. He ready to go spark everybody, man. He is a living terror, man, and people are actually really scared. They're actually really scared of that man, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking Turkey, you know what I'm saying, Big Turkey Sheik, Sugar Sheik, I think he gonna have to sprinkle something on it, man, because Bacoli, man, he's you know, he feeling like the man when he walked through. Sugar Sheik gonna have to put something together. It's news that Jamel coming back. Look like Keyshawn taking over Top Rank. There's trouble in paradise between Eddie and Ala Sheik. No matter how good your poker face is, people getting in the way of this fight. This is probably the most important fight coming. Mixed reviews on this, even though the boss proved that he the man at 27 years old. People so passive nowadays and what's fighting words and how people, man, I've never seen so many freaking videos. I've never seen so many freaking videos where somebody get up there and be an apologist, a pacifier for everything and not want to, like, I'll tell you, man, some people won't kill or let die. They won't. You know what I'm saying? But they'll stir up some stuff. They'll spark a whole stuff, and then on the matters that really mean something, they don't have anything to say. Not nothing that's gonna make them draw a hard line in the sand. It's just politics as usual. This is the most important fight up coming up, man. This is a big implication. I'm just hoping. I'm trying not to get too head over my heels about it. I have my fingers crossed. It got pushed back. Politics got in the way. I'm talking about big politics. I'm talking about world, not YouTube boxing talk politics, but big politics got in the way of this fight for the longest time. And I'm glad. I don't care what side. We can argue, fuss, and fight. I don't care how passionate you are about either side. This is a great fight. This is what's right with boxing. And I do give that man credit for actually getting that, especially once it gets across the finish line. We can't give them credit for something that hasn't happened, but by God, it's set up and it's looking like it. If they can get to October the 12th, get past the weigh-in, no injury, you know what I'm saying? You know, people might be getting their last little, you know, whatever's in. Not sure if they peaking or, you know, I don't know what zone they in, but they look like they ready, man. And by the way, I got Bivol. Seemed like Eddie actually got over that hump, even though he did it the hard way. Oh man, he didn't cave in on the bid between the Normans. Didn't put a little extra on it like Frank Martin style. He didn't do that. Then the first bid, he didn't win that. He did double round and smoothed it over, and I guess he had to do it on the back end. You know, not under the big bright lights, but it looked like they're gonna get that fight. That's gonna be in Philly, and it's supposed to be with Bam on the undercard. But we still gotta ask: is he in Matchroom Purgatory? If everybody boosts fight, they ain't gonna put a little extra on it. The divide and conquer strategy is still in full effect, y'all. Do not get bamboozled. Do not get caught up in a trick bag of being one of these, oh my gosh, it's Norman over everybody, or it's Boots over everybody, or it's Tank over everybody. Fuck Shakur. And nah, man, Shakur, he the best thing since sliced bread. Fuck Tank. Don't get all divided and conquered. Let's at least wait till the matchup is presented, because I said when we'll get ourselves all worked up. We don't do that in real life. You don't do that all that in real life, man. It's not till you get in the room and y'all have an agreement that it's about to go down that you pull out all the stops. You can't go ham soon as you got the number. How? But we do it as fans, man. We'll go ham, man. Tank fans, we'll go up to Shakur fans. The Normans, they'll go against. It ain't no fight. They just got each other number. They ain't even meeting up at the boom boom room yet. And we all bent out of shape. But that's still going on. We're gonna see what else Sugar Daddy Sheik gonna get over the hump. This is still the Cold War. These are the champions, even though it seems like Top Rank outside of Shakur own all of them except for Tank. He can't get, I don't think he can get any of them. People pick, choose, and refuse when they want to acknowledge who's who in the 140 division. And people say that this ain't ever going to be what it was, but this is D Block. And it is what it is. It's some rough, rugged, any given night type fights right here. And you can say you in love with one of these guys all you want. But they on 4 different paths. But all these are acceptable fights. And me personally, Tank can fight anybody. With Frank is already on there, but Tank can fight anybody right here on this list tomorrow. And I'd be like, okay, cool. Why? Because they young assassins. Anybody on this list, young assassins. You know, we don't do sausage party boxing talk over here. My big question is why not? I'm not sure what the mystery is and why this should be the answer to all questions. You know what I'm saying? It checks all of the blocks. All of the blocks. All of them. Every single one of them. But I appreciate y'all, man. That's just a little synopsis of what we had going on. You know, use your critical thinking skills. Think about stuff, man. Don't just let people spoon feed you stuff. Like question, we do it in real life. We question everything, man. Don't just blindly follow nobody, man. That's not good for your health. Let's get behind these fights, man. Let's not be the Grinch, man, and take away these fights because philosophically and I guess the definition of fanatically, the Grinch has already stolen this fight if you let the wrong people tell it. If you listen to the wrong people, man, the Grinch has already stolen this fight away from us. And we might have got it in December. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep some positive vibes that we actually gonna get it. It might be a trilogy, man. It might be, man. Why not? Don't get in the way. Don't be a roadblock. You feel me? Salute to everybody who stopped through and hollered at me, man. Thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.